She still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Sean Wei Li is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, welcome into a jam-packed episode of Axe Kick Picks, episode 111. Today is Friday, June 14th, 2024. And as always, I am your host, D-Rock, and joining me from the beautiful state of South Carolina, Joey D. Joe, how's it going down there, kid?
Hey, how you doing?
Weezy F, baby.
Yeah, I'm living good, man. I can't wait to get into today's show. I think this weekend's going to be, I think it's flying under the radar with all the breaking news that's been going about. So, hopefully, June still turns out the way we, expected it to be in a sentence.
Yeah, hopefully it does. We got a bunch to talk about later on at the news segment, but we got a great episode. A lot going down this weekend. UFC is back at the Apex. Alex Perez and Tatsuro Taira taking on at the main event, UFC Vegas 93. I think the biggest fight of the weekend, Gervonta Davis, Frank Martin. We got the trilogy and Anderson Silva's last fight in Brazil. And, of course, it's against the bad guy, Chael Sonnen. They'll settle their trilogy in St. Pello. Who else? Of course. And then we'll head to Glasgow, Scotland, WWE Clash of the Castle. Can Drew McIntyre finish the story at home? We will see. But, Joe, last night, I know the main event was pretty good, entertaining. But Dakota Devich is the real deal. She's the best flyweight in the world. And if you don't know, now you know.
Yeah, she stole the spotlight. I'll be real with you. The fight card as a whole was rather good. I watched it from top to bottom, but man, she stole the show. I really am gonna die on this hill, man. I think she's the best pound for pound women's fighter on the planet right now. And even if she's fighting for what you want to call the B leagues, man, I think she compete with the upper echelon of fighters. Across. It doesn't matter. If you had her fight in one against their best, if you had her fight against UFC's best, I really think she competes for a title in any of those ranks.
Yeah, I think she beats Alexa Grasso right now.
Wow.
no disrespect to Alexa Grasso or the Bullet.
I think that her stand-up gives her an advantage against most people her size. That's why I meant pound for pound. Obviously, when it comes to fighters that are like bantamweights, like if it's Chris Cyborg or if Amanda Nunes tried to turn around, or if she had to fight a big girl like Kayla Harrison, I think their size might be a little bit of a mismatch there. But man, if she gets anyone that is willing to come to hers, she's gonna stand her ground.
Yeah, yesterday, the brutal mix of knees, punches, that vicious body shot. She gets another first round KR. She's a superstar. PFL has a superstar on their hand, and they better do everything they can to stay with her. But there are tougher matches around the corner. She does get Jenna Bishop next. Should be a good fight in Nashville. But Liz Carmouche, she gets an armbar win. It was a crucial win because she was down on the scorecards if the fight would have went all 3 rounds. Good submission win for Liz Carmouche.
Yeah, and I told you that I said that fight was going to be closely contested. That was the most anticipated fight for me in terms of the separation of the two fighters, because it kind of seemed like a mismatch, as you saw with the co-main and the featured bout. Dennis Goltsov, man, he dominated that fight. So I said in terms of a closely contested fight, that would be it. I know the main event also was rather closely contested, but it was a little boring. That's why this actually lived up to what I expected it to be.
Yeah, 100%. You even had our girl, Taila Santos. She got a split decision win. I didn't think it was a split decision. I didn't know about those scorecards. I thought she won.
Jenna Bishop, and so that's going to be a good fight for Dakota to kind of like a warm-up fight before the playoffs for her. And not that Jenna Bishop's a warm-up by any stretch, but she presents a different style, that she has that jiu-jitsu background. If it gets to the ground, I think she'll certainly test Dakota there. But like I said, I think she's very good in scrambles, Dakota Chicheva is, and I feel like she may be able to accumulate those strikes if she can get out of those scrambles.
And then in the main event, Linton Vassell, he does get the decision win, but it isn't enough. He is eliminated, but he ends up, Moldavsky, he winds up getting the 3rd seed in the heavyweight semifinals against Oleg Popovic. Dennis Goltsov is the number 1 seed against Tim Johnson in Nashville. And then we got the flyweight semifinals. Dakota is the number 1 seed. She'll fight number 4, Jenna Bishop. And then we got a good semifinal, I think, in Taila Santos and Liz Carmouche, the number 2 and 3 seeds going at it. But outside of Dakota, what was the highlight of PFL for you?
Let's go down. I think Shayna Young was kind of
Yeah.
expected to win that one, and I had Ilara John, and she pretty much dominated that fight, so I called that right. But if you saw, I mean, honestly, we were making it was making its rounds in social media. The the double knockdown between
Oh my God.
and Danilo Marquez, bro. I've never seen that before. Huge overhand from Big Tim, and then Danilo hit him low, and they both dropped to the ground. And that was just, that was hilarious to watch. I thought it was a funny, unexpected incident that occurred in that fight. But Tim Johnson raining down heavy strikes and being dominant on top. He wound up reigning supreme in the first round.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you've ever seen that before, because that was the first time I've ever seen. I was like,
we've
what
seen
the
double
fuck?
knockdowns, but not of that variant. That was something that we might not see, for a long time.
But yeah, no, I thought it was good. Mohegan Sun, loud crowd. I thought it was really good. Next stop is Nashville next month.
Are we in the playoffs already, or are they
Yeah,
still
yeah.
have one more fight before
No,
like
two more fights. So it's the semifinals. They're down to the last 4 of each weight class, and then I think the final is in Miami.
So looking at it, Talia Santos, Liz Carmouche, that's a great fight. That's
great fight for the semifinal,
yeah,
and we know Dakota's gonna win. No disrespect to Jenna Bishop,
No.
but it is what it is.
It is what it is. In the heavyweight class, I think those are like closely contested. I think Tim could give Goltsov some problems with his size.
Mhm.
And I think it's I think the talent level of Moldavsky and Popov will be similar. So I think that that's a closely anticipated fight. And we got to yet to see, like you said, we have one more rounds between the men's featherweights and light heavyweights. I think they even have to throw in lightweights and welterweights as well. So that would be in like the Salt Lake card, right?
Yeah, I would imagine so.
I think I know for sure headliners our boy Clay Collard. So he's definitely lightweights will be on display. I'm just trying to remember how they did it last time. Was it featherweights and light heavyweights and then the welterweights and lightweights? I think it's welterweights and lightweights for next week's card.
I gotta look at the actual schedule. I gotta get it in front of me to know. But no, let's see. PFL season. So the next one is the welterweights and featherweights in South Dakota, June 28th. Then we have the heavyweights in Nashville, like I said, August 2nd. That's gonna be Jenna Bishop and Dakota Ditcheva. Then we have the light heavyweights and lightweights in Hollywood, Florida, August 16th.
So we got a lot going on.
Yeah, we got a lot going on. And then I think the final for the heavyweights and flyweights is in San Antonio. So We'll see. Yeah, so we'll see. A lot to get to with PFL, but the star of the show goes to Dakota Ditcheva, gets another first round knockout. Yeah, let's actually get into these plays here. We got a lot to talk about, but before we do, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor our tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around the golf with the boys, or an elderberry watching UFC Vegas 80 and 93, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Cake Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, kid. Let's get to it. We'll start with the UFC Fight Night 93, headlined by a flyweight, Tatsuro Taira taking on Alex Perez. Main card goes down 10 p.m. Prelims go down at 7. But Joe, why don't you start us off?
Yes, sir. And just so you guys know, if you want to tune into some combat action right now, Aries FC 22 is on as we speak. So let's get right into UFC Vegas 93, and they'll kick off in the women's strawweight division between a lot of movement here. We all know what happened in the co-main event that got moved out. So here's the movement. We got the first fight, Julia Palastri as a +165 dog taking on Thunder Josephine Knutson at -180. And I like Knutson's ability to keep the fight standing here. I think Palastri, though she can bang, I think she's going to want to try to get this to the ground. But I think Knutson has good takedown defense, and I think she can accumulate some strikes on the feet. So I'm going to take the chalk. I'm going to take Knutson on the opening here at the money line price of -180. I have her also getting it done via decision. So if you think you want to get those odds down, maybe look at it to be a decision win for Josephine Knudsen. And let's go right into the next fight. The featherweights who were originally supposed to open up the card now take place here. Shailen Nerdenbeck is a plus 165 as well, taking on Maikuzal Costa at minus 190. And I got to go with Costa here. I think he has more ways to win. Nerdenbeck's a tough out, but I think Costa is explosive. I know he fell short his last time out here. I think Nerdenbeck also lost his last time. I think both of them have losses against Steve Garcia. If I'm wrong, both of them are coming up losses against that man. So interesting to see. They both have similar losses, but I think Costa's going to have a slight advantage in this one. I'm going to once again take the chalk, minus 190 on the money line. I favor Costa getting the job done, possibly inside the distance. I'd look for a submission. I think that's a weakness for Nerdenbeck. So I got a second round submission, but look at it to get the plus money for you guys if you feel comfortable taking him straight up with the submission. And now we move to the men's featherweight division where Jeka Saragui is a minus 350 taking on Weston Wilson at plus 280. Look, man, I mean, Weston Wilson, he finds himself in bad positions, and I think the line's right here. I think Saragui is a knockout kind of guy, and I think he can get the job done. And I actually, if you look at his resume, he gets a lot of first-round finishes. So I'm going to go with the heavy favorite here. I'm just taking him straight up, probably incorporate him into a parlay if you're confident enough. If you don't know him, play him straight up with the prop. I have him as a first-round KO, TKO, just because, like I said, Weston Wilson, it seems that he does get caught, and I'm going to play that. So, yeah, Jeka Saragui, minus 350 on the money line, but look for the knockout there.
Is he the only Indonesian fighter on the roster? Male one?
Very well may be, man. And I bet you, regardless of not, being Indonesian, not having I think he has some Thai background. So I think he has some Muay Thai experience. And I think that, man, if he can incorporate some elbows, dude, especially if it's in the clinch or something, I think he has the advantage. And yeah, I think you're right. I think he might be the only Indonesian fighter on the UFC roster.
And tell me Weston Wilson doesn't look like an American Steve Erceg.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, right?
Well, maybe, I know the skill level might be a little different. I know, Steve Erceg's pretty freaking savage. So we'll see if Weston Wilson can prove me wrong there. But let's go into the women's flyweights in the next fight. Carly Judas is a plus 130 dog taking on Gabriela Fernandez, minus 155. And I got to go once again with the chalk. I got a lot of chalk early for you guys, but I think they're pretty right with, the odds making. Fernandez, jiu-jitsu ace. I feel like she can find a way to submit Carly Judas because she likes utilizing her wrestling. And if it's standing, I do think Fernandez might have more power there. So look for Judas looking in for a shot, trying to get it to the mat, where Fernandez, even off her back, could find to throw up a triangle, throw up some armbar submissions. I got Gabriela Fernandez winning on the judges' scorecard. So, minus 155 isn't as chalky as the others, so you could play her straight up. But once again, look for maybe a prop with her via decision. And now we take it into the flyweight division. The men's flyweights where Nate Maness, biggest favorite on the card, I think, close to maybe the second biggest favorite on the card, taking on Jimmy Flick at plus 425. And Maness, he's good when it hits the mat, but look at Jimmy Flick, man. 13 of his not UFC victories, his MMA victories have come via submission. So if Nate Maness wants to utilize his wrestling, you try to think that he has the advantage on the grappling. Not so fast. Jimmy Flick can find a way to submit him there as well. I think he catches him early. I'm going to play Jimmy Flick as a huge dog, kind of get some value for you straight up on the money line. But damn, I'd be surprised if he doesn't find a submission early. So Jimmy Flick plus 425 is my money line play, but I do have him catching Nate Maness early with a submission. So, you don't need to go and find the prop bets to get plus money. Jimmy Flick's already a big dog at plus 425. And now, after all the movement in the card, we have a featured bout in the prelims. And it's once again in the flyweight division where Tagir Ulanbekov is a minus 225 favorite.
Joey, real quick, we have breaking news with Ulanbekov. He missed weight for the first time. He's 3.5 pounds overweight. That's 2 minutes as we're recording, so we'll see.
Is Josh Fink going to accept it? Well, he's a plus 185 dog. And we talked about it before. Most of the guys that miss weight, conduct a foul during the fight, they have the advantage in winning the fight. But as of late, those who have missed weight, they haven't looked too good. It's like they're having hard cuts or they're just not willing to put the work into, cut those extra pounds to make the weight. So my play for Joshua Vanna plus 185 is live. I think he's definitely got the volume and the advantage on the feet. If he accepts this, I think he is going to accept it.
He's a dog.
Yeah, and he's going to get in there and make it dirty. And I think it's a fast rising star. If he can get a win over Ulanbekov, even after him missing weight, we'll see how intense the face offs are going to be. We'll get those later today. I think Joshua Van's going to be accepting this fight. He'll be ready, and he's another dog I'm taking. Plus 185. Give me Joshua Van.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you for that breaking news, man. Was he the only fighter to miss weight for
only
UFC?
fighter? Yeah, and 3.5 pounds. It might not seem like a lot, but it is a lot.
Because he's going to bulk up probably 10, 15 more pounds, and Van making the weight, he's going to be a disadvantage probably by 5 pounds. So that's a lot. That's a lot in there.
And, I think the penalty should be a little harsher. I hate to be that guy on the lawn, the old man, and be like, oh, half the purse. But 20, 30, like, it doesn't seem like it's affecting fighters where it's like, all right, sometimes they'll be like, I'll miss weight. I don't really care.
Yeah, because they feel like they can just still get the fight. Even if they, like you said, lose that percentage of their purse, they feel like, hey, I'd rather get the win on my record.
Yeah, exactly.
But Joshua Van's not going to be an easy out. I do have Joshua Van getting the victory, but I think Ulanbekov is strong enough and tough enough to get it to the scorecard. So Joshua Van is what I have as a decision win in that one. But don't be surprised if maybe he can land a nice body shot as he is used to doing.
Good win for Joshua Van if he could get the number 12 guy in the flyweight. Good win.
Yeah, and then a top 10 fight for him thereafter. And then maybe if he keeps on this roll, man, he might be really close to a title shot, especially with the movement of the flyweight division. So let's go right into the main card of UFC Vegas 93. And with all the movement, we're now starting off in the welterweight division between Adam Fogit, who's a dog at plus 110, taking on Josh Quinlan at minus 120. And I just think Josh Quinlan, man, it's tough to back this dude. He's a favorite right now, but I gotta go at Adam Fogit. I think he has a shot here. I got a couple dogs in a row. I'm going to start off the main card with another dog. I think Adam Fogit could find a knockout, but man, it'll be interesting to see. I really think that Josh Quinlan is the wrong side, even though he's a favorite. Fogit, maybe after the first round, feeling him out. Maybe Josh Quinlan, after eating a couple shots, doesn't want to take it anymore. I'm maybe looking at a Fogit TKO finish in like the second round. It'd be surprising to see Josh Quinlan get out of this fight unscathed. So yeah, give me Adam Fogit as another dog in this one. And so we go right into the next fight, and it's in the flyweight division again. A lot of flyweights on display in this one, and it makes for an exciting card in my eyes. I know a lot of people don't want to see these fighters, but dude, speed kills, and that's what you're going to get in this card. You're going to see a lot of exciting moments, and it's a good fight between Asu Almabayev as a minus 550 favorite against Jose Johnson at plus 500. And Asu Almabayev, he's on a roll. He's been tearing it up. The Kazakhstanian fighters, man, they come out there to win. They come out to kill. But I got a dog play. I got 4 dogs in a row, man, and I'm going to go here with this dude, Jose Johnson at plus 500. Look, he's going to be fighting at flyweight at 6'1". The reach, he's going to have a 10-inch reach advantage. I think it's going to be amazing to see when they have the face-offs later. And you're going to see the size differential between Jose Johnson. He's got some surprising knockouts. He's good on the ground. I think he's going to be a tough fight for Asu Almabayev. I think there's tremendous value in taking him on the money line. Jose Johnson at plus 500 here. I love this dude. I might be eating my words, but dude, I'm gonna double down on this guy later. So let's go into the featured. Before we get to the featured bout, we got the bantamweight division taking center stage, and it's between Garrett Armfield as a minus 180 favorite taking on Brady Hiestand at plus 155. And I've always liked Brady Hiestand. I think he's a really good fighter, but man, he's going into a surging Garrett Armfield, man. I think he has the striking to match Brady Hiestand. I think he's got, good scrambling ability, good takedown defense. I think Brady Hiestand's way to victory is trying to grind out a wrestling victory here, maybe like a TKO on the ground, but I think Garrett Armfield has an answer for everything that Brady Hiestand's going to throw at him. I think he's more seasoned. I think he has more experience going into this fight. I think that's going to reign supreme between the two here. So give me Garrett Armfield. I'm laying chalk again. So after all my dog picks, 4 consecutive, I'm going right back to the chalk. Give me Garrett Armfield as a minus 180 favorite there. And now, like I said, we made it to the feature bout. And it is between Lucas Almeida at plus 170 against Timmy Kawamba at minus 200 in the featherweight division. D-Rock, I'm going to let you speak here. What do you have in the featured bout?
Yeah, give me the under 2.5 rounds, minus 130. You got two guys who could strike, but the difference here is Lucas Almeida. In his last two fights, he did get knocked out. And with Timmy, he has a lot of power. He likes to finish guys. And I think Almeida needs to get off to a fast start in this fight, because if he doesn't, I think it's going to end very, very bad for him. Both guys like to bang. I don't see this going all 3 rounds at all. Solid number 2 at minus 130. So I'm going to go. I thought this number would be higher. I see a finish here. So give me under 2.5 rounds at minus 130.
I love that play, and I'm glad that it's favored because it shows that it very well could happen. I have Timmy Kawamba on the money line at minus 200. I'll lay the chalk. I think it's a steal here. I do have him finishing Lucas Almeida in the second round with a TKO finish. So if you want to play that prop, I think you'll get good plus money on him there. I think he's got the volume. I think he has the power. I think Lucas Almeida gets caught by shots. His advantage is going to be the submission game, but I don't think Timmy's going to wind up in those positions. So, yeah, Timmy Kawamba is the right side in my eyes, and I love that you picked the under 2.5. So, hopefully we both hit in the future bout. And now let's make our way to the co-main event of the evening. We're in the bantamweight division. We have Miles Johns, one of my personal favorites, and I'll be betting with my heart and mind in this one as a minus 135 favorite, taking on Douglas Silva de Andrade at plus 115. We saw him live in person in Charlotte, taking on who we saw last week, Cody Stamann. And Andrade, man, he gave him a great fight there. He's a dog. He's a tough competitor, very athletic, very conditioned in shape. And he's going to give Miles John a run for his money. But I got to go with the savvy guy, the guy who's very technical on his ground and his feet. And I just think he's defensively sound. And I don't think Miles Johns finds himself in bad positions ever. Miles Johns is my pick here. Like I said, he's one of my personal favorite fighters. You think he's a complete fighter. I think he can get the job done here. Hopefully, Douglas Silva de Andrade doesn't grind him out, but Miles John could do the same. Carrying all that muscle, I think Miles John could wear out Douglas Silva and de Andrade. So look for a war of attrition in the co-main event, but I'm taking Miles John as the minus 135 favorite.
Yeah, I think this should be the most competitive fight on the card, in my opinion. I'm going to go with the dog. I'm going to go on the other side. Douglas Silva de Andrade on the money line plus 122. I just feel like Miles John is one of the hardest guys to bet on or against, in my opinion. I just don't have real luck with him. Wherever he's good, I think de Andrade is better, in my opinion. I think he's more durable. He's got the better cardio, and I think he matches him well comparably in the power category. So
I have the advantage in the power.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with the dog here. I do think he roughs it up, and I think he makes this an ugly fight, and he brings it to the trenches. So I'm going to take Douglas Silva de Andrade as a dog at plus 122.
Hey, may the best man win there. I love we're on opposite sides because someone's got to be right.
Yeah, exactly.
And now we've done it. We've made it to the main event. And like we said, it is a flyweight showcase between Alex Perez, who's surging. That's what I mentioned before. He is a surging guy right now, taking on fights last minute and coming out victorious. And I think he's a tough test for Tatsuro Taira here. He's a dog, plus 165. Tatsuro Taira, rightfully so, a favorite because the skill sets, undefeated record, the ability to finish guys and win dominantly on the judges' scorecards, I think proves him right as a minus 190 favorite. And that's who I'm riding with. I'm riding with my boy, Tatsuro Taira, minus 190 on the money line. I think he gets the job done any way he can. But I'm looking towards more like a judge's scorecards, maybe split decision, because Alex Perez has been shown that he's a dog. He doesn't let up easily, and I think it's going to be a competitive fight. So good test for Tatsuro Taira, but I think he winds up victorious.
Is Alex Perez back? I don't think so. I think you got to do more than just have one win and say, I'm back. He's now fighting Taira, who is the complete package, in my opinion. He's good on the feet. Explosive. He's shown creativity on the ground. He can finish it there too. He has great IQ. I feel like Tatsuro Taira here on the money line at minus 190 is a steal. If it gets any higher, maybe take him via submission at plus 145. I sprinkled a little on that. I sprinkled a little on via inside the distance at even money at plus 100. We've seen Perez lose by submission multiple times. There's a reason the UFC is giving Taira a big bump. He's the real deal. So I think he finishes Alex Perez. So I'm going to take him inside the distance at plus 100. You want to add him in one of your parlays. I think he's a great piece as well. Just to go a little back on what you said, I don't think he's back. Yeah, he's a dog for taking this fight and tip your cap to him. But like we always say, Joe, there are levels to this.
There are levels. Yeah. And I think Taira is the real deal. And so a fight after this could be a title eliminator for him. I really think if they want to, push him like that, depending on what happens with the Joshua Van fight, he's going to beat Ulanbekov if he could. man, maybe that's a fight you make, because I think, at the end of the day, they're going to meet up sooner or later. And if you're looking for title contenders, I think maybe you square up two guys that are certain.
Who'd you say again? I was looking at the rank.
Joshua Van, if he could get a victory over Ulanbekov, I think the jump that Tyra's making, I think it could line up, but we could see them not kind of face off until later in the future. So maybe the UFC wants to do something else, but I feel like that wouldn't be a bad move, because if you get a loss now, you can correct the course for either one of them if you have eyes on them being a star in the future.
Yeah, that's a big jump, I would say, because he's not even in the ranking. If he wins this fight, he's already in the top 5 to Suratara. So I think that's a big jump. I think eventually they will meet, because I do think Joshua Van is the real deal. I don't know if they want to kill one off already, but
I was saying, like, if they look like that early, maybe, like I said, if one of them gets a loss now, they could probably correct course before it gets out.
Or maybe you have Alex Perez versus Joshua Van,
and then that could be a good step up for Josh Van, and then get him to fight.
I honestly, bro, I know it's unpopular opinion, but I really love the flyweight division.
Me too, bro. Flyweight is the most exciting division in my eyes. Yep. Speed kills, you know what I mean? Like, as Mets fans, there was no stopping Jose Reyes running the base path, you know what I'm saying? Ichiro hitting triples, you know what I'm saying? Speed, you can't teach speed, and it's get in the 125-pound division. And so I'm glad we talked about it. That'll do 100%. It for UFC Vegas 93. Hopefully they get out of that soon, though. These fighters need
I do agree, but I hope they do make it to 100. Just to say, hey, I watched 100 Apex cards.
I watched every one of them.
They made it this far. They got to hit 100 and then cancel it. No more Apex. Yeah. But no, I agree. Joe, good luck. And let's go to the fight of the weekend at the MGM Grand Arena in lovely Las Vegas. We got Frank Martin taking on the A-side Gervonta Davis. I mean, what a
schoolyard bully.
Yeah.
With the flinch.
I agree, though. A lot of people were mad at Gervonta for not coming to the Grand Ceremony. They haven't announced any. They're not announced. They haven't promoted this fight the way they should. It's Gervonta Davis. I mean, they should be ashamed of themselves. Yeah, but
kind of stuck up a little on us.
It has to be on the promoters to come out and be like, listen, come out to Vegas this week. We got the UFC. We got boxing. Like, there are some good names on this card. It's Gervonta Davis. I know Frank Martin's not the biggest name, but he's still undefeated.
Yeah, exactly. And he's going to pose a threat, because I do think he has some power in there, but it might get canceled out by Tank's power. That's the thing. And so, like, if they're both exchanging shots, I feel like Tank's power may be a little more than what Frank Martin can handle, as opposed to Frank Martin's power. I think Tank could take it and return a shot of his own. And that's the thing. Even though they do have the power, and you may look as a finish is probably the favorited thing for either side, I'm looking at Frank Martin isn't a tough out. Like I said, even though that Gervonta Tank Davis may have the power advantage, I think that Frank Martin may be able to stick to the outside, and Tank Davis is a little more compact with a little, like in the pocket kind of exchange. If Frank Martin could keep it on the outside, I think he could push this to the judges' scorecards. But after taking so much punishment throughout the fight and getting, being on the receiving end of the big shots, I think that's what will propel Tank Davis to victory. And I'm going to pick a surprise prop for you. I think Tank Davis wins on the judges' scorecards, either majority or unanimously. I'll be surprised if any scorecards get put onto Frank Martin, but I'm expecting a dominant win from Tank Davis here. But there's no value in him straight up on the money line. There's no real value on him getting the finish. If you're picking Gervonta Davis, I think the best, most valuable play is taking him via decision at plus 300.
Joe, we have breaking news. Tagir Ulanbekov and Joshua Van is off. Joshua Van cannot catch a break. I mean, I'm looking at his Tapology. That is 4 straight canceled fights, not because of him. We have the Lucas Racha fight against Sumudarji, canceled. To Suratara, canceled. And now the Ulanbekov fight is canceled. The last time he was in the octagon was January 13th of last year.
But you see what I was talking about? He was supposed to fight Tayadra. That fight got scheduled, and then it got canceled. So that's what I was saying. Like, they could possibly wind up fighting each other. But with the jump that Tyra's getting to fight Alex Perez in the top 5, man, that might put a halt to these things, especially now that he's not even going to be able to fight Ulanbekov. Yeah, I think what you said is right. I think they're on different trajectories at the moment. So that's very unfortunate for Joshua Van. Maybe a little bit of nobody want to fight the dude because he's
really. I think that's what it is.
He's a barn burner, bro. He gets in there and he just destroys your body, bro. And he's got shots to the top. And it looked like he was able to grapple and wrestle. And I think Joshua Van is a guy who came under the radar and is a complete package. So we'll see what's for him in the future. I'm expecting him to possibly, now that this fight got canceled, watch him get on the 303 card for international fight.
Yeah, or the Sphere. Put him in.
They need it. I think now they need it. So
yeah. We'll see. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Joshua Van can't catch a break. Or, like you said, people just might be afraid of him. But yeah, going back to the Gervonta Davis and Frank Martin, minus 649 for Gervonta, plus 480 for Frank Martin. Over under is total rounds is at 9.5. You actually like it to go all.
I would take the over bet as well. Yeah, even if Tank Davis finds a way to get a finish, it'd probably be late. I think Frank Martin could be a little sneaky in there.
Yeah, over 9.5 rounds is at minus 142. If you like the fight to go to the decision, like Joey's at plus 164. Yeah, it is favorite to go over.
Goes late. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do too. I mean, obviously, I like Gervonta here, but you know, if you got $649 to just throw away, I think that's the right side. But I'm gonna take the number down a little bit. I'm gonna take Gervonta Davis to win via KO TKO at minus 175. He hasn't been in the ring in 14 months. While Frank Martin's last fight was 11 months ago. So might be dealing with the little ring rust. We'll see. But, you know, Frank Martin, I do think he'll be able to steal a few rounds, especially early on like activity alone. But the more active he is early in the fight, I just think gives Gervonta Davis a chance to get that counter going. And his shots, once he starts landing, it's going to make Frank Martin more hesitant to engage on the inside.
I don't think you give Tank Davis enough credit for his IQ. I think he could download the fighters. Like you said, if he falls behind early, I think he'll start picking up on patterns and the rhythm of his opponents, and then he could start putting in the power behind it.
Yeah, I agree. He's going to become more hesitant, apply pressure, force him on his back foot, and I think he gets the job in the later rounds. I think it will be a competitive fight early, but I do think eventually – I don't think people give him as much credit. Like you said, his fight IQ, I think he is going to figure him out, pick him apart later in the fight. And I'm going to take Gervonta Davis to get the knockout. Minus 175.
But I have it getting to the judges as you think Davis will get Martin out of there.
Yeah, 100%. But it should be a good fight. We also have Benavidez on the card as well. He's a whopping 700, minus 700 favorite.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, Alexander Grozvic.
He's tough. But, man, Benavidez, I think he's got a lot coming to him. If he gets a victory over here, I mean, he's looking to fight Canelo. So, I think, you don't overlook your fighter, but I think he's looking to get that Canelo fight next.
Should be very interesting. I can't wait to watch that tomorrow night. But let's go from Las Vegas to Sao Paulo in an exhibition 5-round and a very exclusive, only VIP members, should be around 100 to 200 people in the arena. But it's the trilogy. Anderson Silva taking on Chael Sonnen. Minus 500 for Anderson Silva. Plus 325 for Chael P. Sonnen. Now, this is his last fight ever in Brazil. And what better fighter to do it than all the history that they still have. And I love it. You know, they made weight, by the way.
Both saw that.
Yeah. Silva weighed in at 214 and Chael Sonnen weighed in at 216. So 2 pounds heavier right there. But, you know, I've loved it. If you thought about UFC 117 back in Oakland, where these two hated each other, I would never have imagined the love and respect that we've seen this week in Brazil. Even Chael Sonnen has been all the shit he's talked about Anderson Silva and like all the hate. He's welcomed in Brazil now. I never would have thought that. So, you know, all the respect in the world that they have for one another, and they helped each other. They're going into the Hall of Fame for their fight this coming July and next month. So I think this is a perfect way to, you know, he's not done. He's not retiring, but this is his last fight in Brazil. And what better fight to give than against Chael P. Sonnen?
And this
thoughts on that real quick.
Chael Sonnen's final fight ever. So it'll be good to see him get in there and mix it up one last time as well. But yeah, Anderson Silva is definitely the better stand-up fighter. It was funny because Chael Sonnen comes out for like the open workouts, and he's like, I'm not going to use my power, you know, to try to get Anderson Silva out of there. And then they asked his son, he's like, how do you think I'm going to beat Anderson? He goes, you're not. His son,
You're not. Yeah, his son's a trip. His father
his
like
son-
son.
It's so funny, bro. And then his son is like, no, he's really son. He's like, how am I going to beat Anderson Silva? He goes, you got to use your power.
I love it too with the open workouts. He's throwing
Yeah.
rocks in the gloves. He goes,
Yeah.
do you think I could win by cheating?
No, antics, man. Chael's gonna come in there fair and square.
Of course.
You know, he's gonna talk he's talked his stuff beforehand, and I bet you even after whatever happens, he's gonna get the mic a little and talk a little over there. And
I
know
do
Anderson
real
Silva
quick. I
will
do want to
crowd.
say I think it's really cool how when they had this rivalry growing up, that his son Khalil Silva was in the background of his dad, and now he's fighting on the same
He's the
card.
main event. I was just gonna mention that too. Yeah, it's great to see the Silva family get in there, and it's good to have father sons fighting on the same card. It's kind of like a dream, you know. As a father, you would
100%.
always like to have your son, you know, kind of do what you do, and you know, Silva's good. He's undefeated. I'm seeing so far. I know one was kind of like definitely a can, but you know, it's like LeBron wants Bronny. You know what I mean? You want to have that amazing relationship with your son.
Griffey and his son, they played on the same team.
Yeah, Cecil and Prince. You know what I mean?
We could go all day with it. But
go
yeah,
all
no,
day,
I
yeah.
agree. I think like that's what you strive for. And you even saw Chael's son, and his son, do you want to follow your foot in your father's footsteps? He goes, we probably won't be on the same card, but do you want to be a fighter as well? He goes, hell yeah. And Ariel goes, why? He goes, 2 reasons. The money and the chicks.
Yo,
He's
stuff
just
of
like
legends,
Chael.
bro.
I love it.
Stuff of legends, bro.
Oh, my
Fantastic. I think it'll make for a great card, man. And last for the Brazil to see their
Yeah.
legend Anderson Silva get in there and do it for the crowd. Like what I said, Chael may say something at the end of the fight, but we certainly get a thank you from Anderson the Spider Silva at the end of it.
Yeah, Anderson does have a 3.5 reach advantage over Chael Sonnen. I think that's a big advantage in what I think is going to be a glorified sparring match, if I'm honest.
5 rounds.
Yeah, it's 5 rounds. I do think Anderson Silva, he's going to dance around, try to keep the distance from Chael. It's just so hard. I like Chael so much, but it's difficult.
Silva has the advantage. They had the advantage in mixed martial arts where Chael could have mixed up the wrestling, where that's his, ace in the hole.
Mhm.
But Silva,
it's just difficult for me to see him win.
Yeah.
He's shorter. He doesn't really have a boxing background. He doesn't have the experience that Anderson Silva has. He hasn't competed since his knockout by Leo Machado back in 2019. So if you can find decent props, I would take Silva to win by decision. But
Tank Davis going to have rust. I think Chael Sonnen's definitely going to have some rust in there. And so with that being said, if we're thinking Anderson Silva was the right side, you and I look money line. That's not really playable. And then him via decision as well is not playable. So I went on a taking a chance. I think Silva has a shot, even though it's only 5 rounds, to get a KO TKO. Because if Chael Sonnen does look kind of bad in there, Anderson could get him out. So KO TKO is plus 125. I think that's probably the best prop you can get out of this. Just like how I went with the plus 300 for Tank Davis. I just look for the most value, but it might not be the smartest on either.
What's Anderson Silva via decision?
It's like minus like almost $2. Like it was like minus 185, minus 190 or something.
That's not terrible, but yeah, still definitely chalky. But yeah, I do think that's the right way. But yeah, hopefully he doesn't. Hopefully someone does get knocked out. But it's very unfortunate that we can see it here in America. Like, what's up with that?
We'll see something. We'll definitely see after. But it would be nice to see it. I would like
100%.
to.
All right, let's go from Brazil. Let's head up north and go all the way to Glasgow, Scotland for Clash of the Castle, WWE main pay-per-view main event. The Scottish Psychopath at home taking on what's his name? Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. Can he finish the story? We got a bunch of, I think, pretty good fights. You got the undisputed Cody Rhodes taking on AJ Styles in an I Quit match. Bailey taking on Piper Nevin. I think that's how you pronounce her name. You got the Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn taking on Chad Gable. They're really pushing him. Got the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill going down defending their belts as well. So let's start there, Joe. Let's start with the WWE World Women's Tag Team Championship. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill taking on Abla Fry and Isel Dawn versus Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Will Jade and Bianca retain their titles?
I I think it's probably the most likely thing to happen. You know,
Yeah.
I know Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are kind of surging, and then Alba Fry and Isla Dawn are in their own backyard. But yeah, I think Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill defend. They retain their championship. I don't think you take the belts out of them soon. Bianca Belair is still a star, and with her star power, she's pushing Jade Cargill, who's like a dominant force. So I don't see them losing here, even though, like I said, Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark are surging. I would actually think Fire and Dawn have a higher chance of getting the victory in their backyard, but they're not going to play to the crowd that much. They're going to keep the stars as champs.
Yeah, I mean, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are one of the biggest favorites on this card. They're also a high priority for the promotion, and I think they need to rack up titles, not on a pay-per-view like this. Maybe a SummerSlam, maybe they slip up. I just don't see it here. Fry and Dawn, they're good. They had that match on SmackDown the other night, but I don't think I think they're racking up title defenses for these two girls. I think they're just bodies. No disrespect to Baszler and Zoe Starks, but you just don't see a world where they're gonna take it off them in Scotland of all places. So yeah, I agree. I think they retain as well. Let's go to the Intercontinental Champion, one of our favorite fighters, Sami Zayn, defending his belt against Chad Gable.
Chad Gable sucks.
You got the and new, or do you got Sami Zayn retaining here?
I was just going with the Pat McAfee.
Yeah.
Everything he's doing, he's playing the heel pretty good right now. Having his own stable kind of go against him, even though it's surprising, they're all backing him every way, especially Otis. So I would be surprised though if Chad Gable winds up becoming new here. I do think Sami Zayn's retained, but it'd be interesting to see what like all the backstory will be. Like if Otis finally turns on Chad Gable, or if he blows it and Chad Gable can still get on his, Alpha Academy and like, oh, you guys didn't do it for me again. Like, always kind of pushing it onto someone else that it's not his fault for, not being the Intercontinental Champion. And wouldn't it be something if like, Sami Zayn retains and then, Otis is like the guy that's like, trying to be, pushed under the radar by Chad Gable, and then he gets a chance for the Intercontinental Championship. He wins. I think that's something like Sami Zayn would do. Like he's that type of good guy. I don't think you take the title off of Sami Zayn just yet. It's close. It's coming close. But I feel like it'd make for a bigger story if he loses it down the line, say like SummerSlam or something against Otis, and then you can have kind of a rivalry there. Give Sami Zayn a little time off, even though he's a workhorse and probably won't. I do see Sami Zayn retaining at the Clash at the Castle.
Yeah, I was very close to taking Chad Gable. Assuming Gable is staying, and I think the WWE could have easily pivoted from him having a feud with Otis and the remaining of the Alpha Academy with the Creed brothers as well. So I was very, very close to taking Chad Gable, but I agree. I think Sami Zayn does retain here. So I just don't see it. I don't see it here. I do think he'll be the difference maker.
Maybe even a
he is close, though. I agree. I think
maybe
he's close to losing.
Disqualification where he could beat up Sammy a little bit. Something happens with his Alpha Academy that gets him disqualified, where he can still have heat on his stable and still kind of not lose, not take a pinfall, because that would definitely hurt his stock. But the disqualification seems like a right play in that one.
Yeah, I agree there. Let's go to the WWE Women's Championship match. Bayley defending her title against Piper Niven. Anyone who spent any time around wrestling, this is not going to be a short title feud. I think this is a short title feud. I don't think this is something serious. It's good to see Piper. She's getting a big spot in Scotland, but I don't think anyone is buying her as a winner here. If I'm being honest, I don't even think the promotion is. Bayley's championship run, it hasn't been great, but that makes it such an obvious match for it not to be disappointing. We know Nia Jax, she gets the title shot at SummerSlam, and Bayley versus Jax is the obvious play there. So Bayley's going to retain here. I think this was most obvious
pretty
ones.
cut and dry there. Yeah, Bailey's definitely going to be the victor here. Piper Nevin's getting the spotlight because they're in Scotland. I think she's Irish, if I'm mistaken, but you know, she's a big you know, opponent to play against. If Bailey can get a victory over her, that means that she could get a victory over Nia Jax.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one was pretty clear cut and dry and the easiest one. You love it. Here's your boy, AJ Styles, trying to get the undisputed WWE Championship off of our boy, Cody Rhodes, in an I Quit match. Joe, I'll let you go. This is your boy, one of the best, AJ Styles. Who do you got?
The best in-ring performers of all time, but I got to go with the American Nightmare. They're not taking the belt off of Cody Rhodes, and I think it's just going to showcase his dominance as champion, being able to defend in any set of circumstances. And in an I Quit match, man, get ready for fight of the night, match of the night here between the two. I know there's a lot of good ones going on here, but when you get two in-ring competitors like this going in an I Quit match, if Cody Rhodes can get AJ Styles to say, I quit, man, that speaks volumes to him as a champion. So, yeah, I think Cody Rhodes retains. We're getting a couple retains at the Clash at the Castle, but, man, you don't take the title off of Cody Rhodes here. I mean, it would make for some sort of feud if AJ Styles can win here, but I don't see Cody Rhodes saying, I quit. I just don't see that.
Not at all. He's the American Nightmare. Are we kidding me? And like after that whole Saudi Arabia thing with Logan Paul, I'm glad Cody's like back and focused on AJ Styles. You know, I agree. It definitely was a one-off, and it was a good one-off. I believe Styles, he's the best at playing the heel. I'll give him that, but there's no chance they're having Cody drop his title via I Quit match. You know, also I think the promotion needs to hurry up and give what we want. Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I think that's what everyone's waiting for in a landscape where Roman Reigns, The Rock, when are they coming? Their return is inevitable, I think. And I think
they might focus on the bloodline and what Solo Sikoa is doing to the family.
Yeah. So
he thinks he's the tribal chief right now.
We'll see about that. But yeah, I just don't see any scenario where Cody Rhodes loses in an I Quit match. The man will never quit.
He won't quit, bro. Even if he's in a bad spot, he's not.
Yeah, he'll never quit. Yeah. So and still Cody Rhodes. And then the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship, champion Damian Priest taking on the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre in his home. Joe, does he finish the story? Do they give him the title here in Scotland?
Bro, it's very close for me. I think this can go either way because they you know, predicated that this whole event would be around Drew McIntyre, and it is. He's the main event, and he's surged. I think he is looking more of like a top guy than Damian Priest because there's so much drama surrounding the Judgment Day at the moment, and you know, it would say something to Damian Priest if he could retain and like show that, you know what, no matter all the drama that's going on within the stable, that he can do it himself, as he's been trying to prove to everyone. He's like, don't get involved. I want to do it myself. But be careful what you wish for, because I think if he tries to do it himself against Drew McIntyre in his own backyard, I think Drew McIntyre may kick his ass. I'm going to straight up say it. I'm going to go with Drew McIntyre wins the title here at Clash at the Castle in his own backyard. The pop that we're going to hear from the audience if he does win, I think is going to be something that the WWE claims for. With all the defenses we're going to get today, I think you're going to see someone get a new title, and I think Drew McIntyre and new.
Do you think CM Punk makes an appearance and costs him the title?
Bro, I didn't even incorporate that at all. So
right? I think you got to think about that though.
I think you do. And now that you mention it, I think there's a play for Damian Priest to retain without the Judgment Day, but CM Punk getting involved, as how Damian Priest was able to cash in at WrestleMania. So, I mean, that's absolutely viable, but there's something that says that, hey, you know, you spoke about it in the past. If you want to get CM Punk pushed up, if there's this rivalry going on between him and Drew McIntyre, what better way to get a title on CM Punk than to have Drew McIntyre become the new World Heavyweight Champion and then defend it against CM Punk? Maybe in Chicago? Whew. Yeah. Rowdy crowd.
You know, McIntyre getting the win in front of his home crowd. Scenes. I don't know if you watched last night, but the crowd in Scotland is ridiculous. Oh my God, it's gonna be madness tomorrow, just like the French crowd a few months ago. But you know, and I think he deserves it. You know, all the work he's done for himself, for the WWE, especially during the height of the pandemic. I thought he carried the company for a while. Then you had Damian Priest crash it at WrestleMania. He ended his title reign in what? A couple minutes.
Yeah.
It's someone on X or Twitter, whatever you fucking call it. They pointed out, I read, no one has ever paid, I'm quoting him, no one has ever paid for a ticket to watch McIntyre defend a world title. That's not a shot at McIntyre, but a product of the pandemic and the crash. And, you know, I think the thing is the story of McIntyre being screwed out of the title, preferably by CM Punk. You know, it's just at this event, I think it's too good to pass up. You know, McIntyre, he has the ultimate villain thing working for him right now. And the most of his complaints are valid. I agree with him. It's just his reaction. That's the issue. You know, Priest hasn't come across as quote unquote the guy who can lead the show as world champion, but most wrestlers aren't, I think. And if we're being honest, the better story with McIntyre being screwed over and being free of the independent Punk return while the winner is the match. And I think, you know, maybe to face Gunther at SummerSlam.
Very viable.
I think the better story is him losing at home. So I'm going to go and still Damian Priest, but I agree. I think I was very close to the heart in me and the fan. I want to see Drew McIntyre win, but I think they screw him over one last time. So
wow. Insane.
Yeah.
I think we're on the same side with everything except for the main event.
For the main event.
Yeah. And does Drake own that arena, the
OVO Hydro in Scotland? Yo, it was funny you bring that up because I was thinking about that. I was like, yo, he has to perform there.
Yeah, it has to, bro.
But yeah, should be scenes. It's a little early start time. Airs here tomorrow, Saturday, June 15th at 2 p.m. their time, 7 p.m. local time. So it's a 5-hour difference. But yeah, Saturday afternoon, it'll get you right into the UFC and then right into Frank Martin versus Gervonta Davis. But that's all the plays we got. Quick notes before we get up out of here. UFC 303. We got to start there. No Conor McDavid and Michael Chandler. Conor McGregor got hurt. Not that serious, according to Errol Wani. He should be ready by August, maybe early
serious for everyone who bought tickets for that event.
Yes, it is serious, but they are looking to rebook that fight. But here comes Ciampa, UFC lightweight heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira.
Alex Pereira and Yuri Prohaska.
Yep, he will defend it again. What did I say last episode? I was like, Yuri's getting it. He mentioned it on Octagon at the arena. They are the main event, the rematch. We also got a new co-main event. Diego Lopez will take on Brian Ortega.
Win that fight, bro.
I love this fight. And Jamal Hill, he suffered a knee injury, so he's out. But they're keeping Carlos Ulberg on the card. And here comes Anthony Smith.
Wow,
what a gangster. I like that.
Gangster, and I'll be real with you, bro. We said it, styles make fights. You know, the fact that Jamal Hill would want to keep it standing, I think would favor Ulberg. But now that Anthony Smith can get in there and incorporate anything, because, you know, Anthony Smith, he's well-rounded. I think Ulberg's got a test on his hands.
If I'm being honest, I still think the second best fight is Ian Machado Gary taking on Michael Venom Page.
Oh, absolutely, bro. That's going to be the treat for everyone. And imagine Ian Gary throws in some wrestling. I doubt it. I think we're getting a treat, a stand-up fight, and made the best striker win in that one. And I still think it makes for a good International Fight Week card. Like we said, if all else fails, call some of the most exciting fighters on the roster between Yuri and Alex.
I think they open up the pay-per-view, Ian Machado Gary and Michael Venom Page. The
Everyone
future prelim,
in ready to watch the main card.
Future prelim is Joe Pyfer and Marc-Andre Barrios. You got Cub Swanson and Andre Fili, Charles Jourdain. I still think it's a good card. You got our boy Peyton Talbot, who's just casually hanging out with Tony Hawk. Yeah. I mean, the guy's just amazing. I love him.
He's a star, bro.
Yeah, you got Ricky Simone opening up the card in general. You got our girl Jillian Robertson taking on Michelle Waterson
That's
Gomez.
A good fight. That's a good fight.
I still think the card is good. Obviously, it's no Conor McGregor. No one's trying to be a Conor McGregor card, but I still think it's a good card.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm definitely going to be watching it. There's no way I'm not. You know, June, we had high expectations for it, but with a couple of the pullouts, I still feel like the UFC did a good job with the replacements.
Especially in the amount of time that it all happened, too. Like,
especially not only International Fight Week, but for the Saudi Arabia card as well.
Yeah, exactly. We could go right there. Hamza Shemaev, he's currently in the hospital. Several
Violently,
reports he's violently ill, so you got to feel bad for the guy. He definitely is sick. It's unfortunate to Turki Al-Ashi and everybody in Saudi Arabia, but that fight is off between him and Robert Whittaker. But here steps in Ikram Aliskerov. He was supposed to fight this week or tomorrow.
I was saying, what a crazy turnaround for him to go from a minus 1,200 favorite to now a plus 155 dog. And I called it exactly. We were arguing about, what's the odds going to be? People were saying that Bobby Knuckles is going to be the underdog. I was like, Bobby Knuckles as an underdog? I was like, no, look, he's going to be a $200 favorite, $2 favorite. And Ikram Aliskerov is going to be a plus 150 something. And it was 1 plus 55 and minus 200 for Bobby. So I hit that exactly correct.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all the training you gave me with whose line is it anyway?
Yeah, right now. Do you want to know currently the odds?
Oh, so if there's some more money I bet probably people wanted to jump on the minus 200. So I'm thinking it's probably swung out to maybe a plus 160, plus 165, and then Bobby's probably trending towards a minus 225, minus 230.
It's actually gone the other way. Money has come in on Ikram. He is down to minus 114. Robert minus 135. Money has come in on the other way.
It's basically almost a pick 'em.
Almost. He's a short favorite.
Wow, dude. I'm surprised by that. There's value on Bobby now because
100% minus 135 for a Hall of Famer
as minus $2 dog. It was hard to take that. You would have to find a prop. Now you can just play him straight up on the money line and just kind of see what happens from there.
Are you surprised? Because they said Dana White and Hunter Campbell came out and said, they offered the Robert Whittaker to everyone in the top 15 in the middleweight, and they all declined it.
He's ready for that fight, and Ikram had this fight camp ready for this one. Doesn't seem like he has to cut too much too soon. So I feel like that was probably the best replacement. And people were like, I don't want to have to come in, cut all that weight to fight a guy who had a full fight camp. And Bobby Knuckles, as you mentioned, is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised he took it at all. Like, if he beats Robert Whittaker, he's already in the top. He's a number 3 middleweight in the world, and he's a fight away from the title.
And Hamzat will be looking up to him.
My thing also, that'd be crazy. But my thing is, I'm more shocked that no one took this fight with Robert Whittaker. No one, not even a Michelle Pereira.
I don't think they wanted to.
Fluffy Hernandez, Chris Curtis.
Take on him where he's already in Saudi Arabia. I think Bobby's already ready to go. So it's just a tough situation for anybody stepping in on short notice besides Ikram, who's had a camp.
Yeah, very unfortunate. But good fight between those two. Can't wait for that. That is next week in UFC Saudi Arabia. And then just 2 fights got announced. UFC Vegas 95, August 10th. Marcin Tybura, our Polish friend, taking on Sergey Spivak. You like this fight?
Yeah, I think it's a good fight. Yeah, get 2 heavyweights and mix it up. I think it'll make for a good one.
Yeah, and then lastly, our boy from Serra Longo, Dennis Bazooka will take on Danny Silva August 24th at a UFC event. We don't know if it's at the Apex or somewhere.
He might have found his footing, man. Might have got comfortable after, let down and then his debut. I think Bazooka has found his footing in the UFC. And if he gets another finish, man, it'll be looking good for him in his camp. I expect good things from Dennis Bazooka.
100%. But Joe, that's all the news I got over the week. What you doing here for 10 seconds left? Doubling down?
Yeah, I'm doubling down. Not much going on. Like we said, Eris is taking place right now, so no money we could play for that. But I'm going to double down on Jose Johnson. At plus 500, I think that reach advantage is going to be tremendous. And also, Almabayev could make me swallow my words. Taking him straight up on the money line at plus 500. Jose Johnson as a straight pick, and then I got to put him in for 10 seconds left. I just think he can get the job done here. He surprised a lot of people before, and if he does it again, man, we'll be swimming in it. So I got to go with Jose Johnson at plus 500 in UFC Vegas 93.
Joe, I'm retiring after 10 seconds left. I went undefeated, and now I'm done. It's like when you get off the poker table, you got to know when to leave when you're hot.
No when hold on.
Exactly. But Joe, good luck this weekend. Got a loaded slate, and we will be back for you guys Monday. But that's going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, I am D-Rock. Make sure you guys go follow along our social media, Instagram and Twitter at Axe Kick Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes if you missed one, wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. If you want to watch us as well, we're on YouTube as well. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend, everyone. Good luck on your wagers this weekend, and we will see you guys on Monday.